Have you ever tried learning a new language? It can seem like a tall order, right? But let me tell you, it's a fascinating journey, filled with its own unique set of challenges and rewards. For most of us, the first hurdle is time. We often ask, do I have the time to commit to this new endeavor? The answer is personal and varies for each individual. Then comes the question of motivation. Why am I doing this? A strong why can act as a powerful driving force on this journey. Now let's talk about the language structure. Every language has its own rhythm, its own melody, and understanding this structure can sometimes feel like trying to decode an ancient script. But don't worry, it's all part of the process. So why am I telling you all this? Well, I want to share my own experience. Join me as I share my journey in learning a new language and the ways I found most effective. Every journey begins with a single step, and mine started with a decision. You see, I had always been fascinated by the idea of speaking another language, of being able to communicate with people from different cultures and walks of life. So one day, I decided to take the plunge and learn a new language. I opted for Spanish, a language that I felt was both beautiful and practical, given its widespread use. But why learn a new language, you might ask? Well, for me, it was about more than just adding a skill to my resume. It was about understanding different cultures, expanding my worldview, and challenging myself. I realized that learning a language is like unlocking a door to a whole new world, offering insights into different ways of life and thought. Moreover, I believed that learning Spanish would allow me to connect with a large part of the world that I had previously been unable to communicate with. I was excited by the prospect of being able to read Spanish literature, watch Spanish films, and engage in conversations with native speakers. Once you've chosen your language, the next step is deciding how you're going to learn it. Now, there's a smorgasbord of methods out there, each with its own merits and challenges. First off, let's talk about self-study. It's like being your own teacher. You've got total control over your learning pace, materials, and schedule. I remember when I first started learning Spanish, I'd spend hours on language apps, reading books, and listening to Spanish music. It was fun, and I learned a lot. But self-study demands discipline and consistency. Without them, it's easy to lose track and motivation. Then there are language classes. These are more structured and provide a solid foundation in grammar and vocabulary. You get a teacher to guide you and classmates to practice with. I took a few French classes and found them helpful. But remember, classes usually follow a fixed curriculum, which might not cater to your specific learning needs or goals. Next up are language exchange programs. These are great for practicing conversation skills. I once partnered with a German speaker who wanted to learn English. We'd spend half the time speaking in German and the other half in English. It was a win-win situation. But you need to find the right partner who's patient and understanding, or else it could be more frustrating than fruitful. Lastly, there's immersion, the deep end of language learning. Living in a country where the language is spoken can accelerate your learning like nothing else. I lived in Italy for 6 months, and my Italian improved dramatically. But immersion is not always feasible for everyone, and it can be quite overwhelming at the start. So there you have it, 4 different methods, each with its own flavor. Some might prefer the autonomy of self-study, while others might thrive in the structured environment of a language class. You might find a perfect language exchange partner, or get the chance to immerse yourself in a new culture. The key is to experiment and find what works best for you. Identifying the method that works best for you can make or break your language learning journey. And trust me, once you do, the journey becomes all the more enjoyable and rewarding. Learning a language is not a smooth ride. You'll encounter bumps along the way. Embarking on a journey of language learning is akin to setting sail on a vast ocean. It's a voyage filled with exhilarating moments of discovery, yet one that is not without its fair share of storms. Challenges are as much part of this journey as the joyous moments when a new word or phrase clicks into place. One of the first hurdles I encountered was the daunting task of memorizing vocabulary. It felt like a mountain I had to scale, with countless words and phrases waiting to be learned. But then I realized that language isn't about rote memorization. It's about immersion and usage. I started integrating new words into my daily conversations and writing. This active engagement helped me to not only remember the words, but to understand their context and nuances. Then came the challenge of pronunciation. It felt like my tongue was performing complex gymnastics, trying to shape unfamiliar sounds. It was frustrating when people couldn't understand me, or when I couldn't quite capture the right inflection. To overcome this, I sought help from native speakers, used pronunciation guides, and practiced tirelessly. Slowly but surely, the foreign sounds started to feel more natural. Another significant challenge was maintaining motivation. There were times when progress seemed slow, when the complexity of the language felt overwhelming. But instead of succumbing to frustration, I reminded myself of why I started this journey. I celebrated small victories, like understanding a sentence in a movie or having a successful conversation. These moments fueled my determination to keep going. Navigating through these challenges taught me valuable lessons. I learned that patience, persistence, and a keen sense of curiosity are crucial in language learning. I discovered that making mistakes is not a setback, but rather an opportunity to learn and grow. Most importantly, I realized that the journey is as rewarding as the destination. Challenges are part of the journey, but with determination and the right mindset, you can overcome them. The ultimate goal of learning a language is achieving fluency. Now, what does achieving fluency look like, you ask? Well, it's like waking up one day and realizing you've been dreaming in your new language, or when you're able to crack a joke in a conversation and native speakers laugh along. It's a beautiful feeling, like you've unlocked a secret door to a whole new world. Becoming fluent is not an overnight process, it's a journey. My journey towards fluency was filled with countless hours of practice and a mountain of mistakes. I remember the first time I held a conversation with a native speaker without asking them to slow down or repeat themselves. It was exhilarating, like crossing the finish line after a marathon. There's a particular joy that comes with reaching fluency. It's not just about being able to communicate effectively. It's about understanding a new culture, a new way of thinking. It's about making connections with people you wouldn't have been able to otherwise. It's about seeing the world from a different perspective. And that, my friends, is the true beauty of language. Now let me share a secret with you. Fluency doesn't mean perfection. You don't have to know every single word or idiom, and it's okay to make mistakes. In fact, making mistakes is part of the process. It's how we learn and grow. Remember, fluency is a journey, not a destination. It's about constant learning and improvement. Don't be discouraged if you don't reach fluency as quickly as you'd like. Language learning is not a race, but a marathon. It requires patience, perseverance, and a whole lot of practice. So keep going, keep practicing, keep making mistakes, keep learning. And one day, you'll wake up and realize that you're not just speaking a new language, but you're living it. You're thinking in it, dreaming in it, and experiencing the world through it. That's when you know you've achieved fluency. Reaching fluency might take time, but the satisfaction you get is worth every second. Learning a new language is a journey full of ups and downs. It all starts with choosing a language that sparks your interest, a language that you feel connected to and are excited to explore. Then comes the task of finding the right learning method. Is it through apps, books, or immersion? Each method has its own merits, and what works for one person may not work for another. Along the way, you'll face challenges. These could be anything from grappling with complex grammar rules to struggling with pronunciation. But remember, these challenges are part and parcel of the journey. They shape you and ultimately lead you to achieving fluency. Achieving fluency isn't the end of the journey, but rather a milestone. It's a testament to your hard work, your resilience, and your passion. Remember, every language learner's journey is unique. Embrace yours and enjoy every step of it.